Jessica Campbell and Kori Cheverie, both young trailblazers who have already made history in their hockey coaching journeys, took a beat during their all-encompassing roles to reflect on their parallel paths.
Before we touch on Seattle, I want to go back to Saskatchewan. What were your athletic dreams as a kid?
Wow, I mean, I definitely had big dreams. You know, I was from a tiny little town, very proud to be from Brokenville, Saskatchewan, in a hockey community. You know, as a young girl playing on a boys hockey team, I always dreamt of playing in the NHL. That's what I saw in front of me. And then when I witnessed Team Canada for the first time, you know, at the Olympics, that's when I shifted and started believing playing for Team Canada, and it was all about that. This was a really natural progression for me to come into coaching after my playing career.
In my final year of playing in the CWHL, that's when the opportunity to coach came up. So I was able to actually coach full-time at what was then Ryerson University men's hockey program. And I was able to coach at the U18 women's level as well. Two completely different roles, but something I'm very grateful that I made that decision when I did.
Every experience, I think, has helped me. You know, every chapter, every step, I look back on all of it.
They both have been first and only in the men's game. For Kori, it was leading a men's program in youth sports. For Jessica, it was being hired by the Coachella Valley Firebirds when she became the first woman to be named as an assistant in the AHL, and immediately helped them reach the Calder Cup finals in her first 2 seasons. Even before that, she served as an assistant coach for Germany at the 2022 IIHF Men's World Championship, becoming the first woman to coach at that tournament. All leading up to earlier this season, making history as the first woman to be a full-time assistant coach in the National Hockey League.
To become the first, I never ever thought of that until I ended up in this position, and you know, I get reminded of it often, or, you know, people bring up the world, the first, the trailblazer, and all these things, and it kind of hits me of the magnitude of the moment. I just, you know, look to see those young kids. They can now believe that anything is possible, and even other adults, right, in other spaces where they don't traditionally belong.
Other female coaches ask me about the route that I took, but it's a very different road, and you have to want to coach on the men's side for the right reasons.
Cheverie's opportunity behind an NHL bench came through the NHL Coaches Association as guest coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 2023 preseason.
Everybody was welcoming, and I got to do a lot of really cool things with them, and you know, standing up at the board and explaining a drill to Sid and Letang and Malkin, although it was scary, it was so cool.
Okay, gang. So the first part of the camp here is coming to its end. You guys have noticed Kori has been on the ice with us. So Kori is the first head coach for the professional women's team in Montreal, and she's going to be coaching that team this year. So we just want to acknowledge Kori and say congrats to her.
You don't want to let an opportunity like that go, but it's not every day that you get to coach on the women's side and be a head coach of a team of a brand new league that you've waited so many years for. So to me, it was a no-brainer.
Dan, do you want a second puck if they score?
Dan Bylsma's mentorship and sponsorship has been key to Campbell's ascension from the AHL to the NHL.
I've learned a lot from Dan. You know, in Coachella Valley, we had success for 2 years, and a lot of that was just a testament to the culture and the energy. You know, he brings a lot of energy to everything he does, and so I try to emulate that as much as I can to share my passion the way he shares his passion, and so we have a very cohesive way of working together.
Cheverie's biggest inspirations in hockey were Sidney Crosby, Mel Davidson, and Danielle Sauvageau, who started as photos on her wall before they were parts of her story IRL.
You know, all these years later, I'm now working with the national team. I work with Danielle Sauvageau, and I got the opportunity to work with Pittsburgh, so it was like the pictures on my wall had come true.
Campbell and Cheverie don't take their roles as trailblazers lightly. Every step on their journey is a light on the path of other female coaches who will one day follow in their footsteps.
We're seeing it now at the university level and then in the AHL. And there's tons of different roles too. It doesn't have to be just on the bench as a coach. There's video coaches, there's IST staff, there's different avenues to get into men's hockey if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah, like almost like arrive here, then straight, like get onto it.
I've tried to kind of ground myself to know that I feel like I'm trying to do my piece as well to continue to break the barriers, to push forward for women in hockey.
There's no doubt that, if you're on the men's side and you hire a female coach, you won't be disappointed.